Good morning, Mike and Arlen, our Philippine journey. Thank you so much for joining us. I want you to pay attention to the date. It is currently 3 o'clock in the morning on July 10th here in the Philippines as I wrap up this video. And I struggled with this video for the past 2 days, and we're going to explain. In fact, you know what? Let's talk about it. Okay. So I still haven't figured out what I'm going to title this. I mean, I could title this Dumbasses. I could title it I Hate AI. I could title it AI Ruined My Day. I could title it These Type of Expats Are Examples of People That Are Going to Have a Difficult Time Here in the Philippines. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to title it yet, but let's just go into it. All right, so we released a video 2 days ago. Let's see, today is Thursday morning, Monday, 3 days ago. All right, and it pertains to a very touchy subject, the 1% remittance tax. We got a ton of comments. We got a plethora, and that's great. You know, our channel is a hobby that we take pretty seriously, and its really primary intent is to engage people, and it certainly engaged quite a few. Now, with that being said, what it did also do was point out some very, very visible facts. And so let's go into it and talk about this for a couple of minutes. I think it's important. I think that you need to recognize that these comments, or some of these comments, come from people who are simply never or will have an incredibly difficult time adjusting to life in the Philippines. All right, or any country, perhaps. It's not necessarily just the Philippines. So I've been following this 1% remittance tax since the president first announced it. All right. And the video that we put out was nothing about politics. It had nothing to do with what was right, what was wrong, what was good, what was bad. It had everything to do with the possible impact. And there was some issues within the law itself that were a little bit vague, but there were quite a few issues in there that were extremely well spelled out. So I thought, okay, I'm going to wait and see what happens. And I still want to wait and see what happens because I don't think that this particular issue is over. I think that there are going to be amendments and changes. Now, with that being said, we got a plethora of comments. And what became very obvious was two different things. Now, this is an American issue. In other words, and when I say American, it's based in America. It doesn't impact, the Philippines did not pass this law. It doesn't impact British, UK, Australian, German. It just impacts people in the U.S. And with that being said, I said, you know what? Let's wait and see what the final bill comes out to. How many changes are there going to be? All right. And so I did. And when it came out, I did a video. And when I did the video, I actually waited for the signed bill and then printed out or displayed the actual section that refers to the remittance tax. And man, I mean, we got from one spectrum to the other. And when I say that, I mean, there is some gray in there that isn't clearly defined. All right. But we stated our opinion based on the exact language of that section. And nowhere else does this bill contain remittance information that I've been able to find. Now, some people say they have. Okay, that's great, but we wanted to engage people. That's the whole idea. Well, what did we come across? Well, this is how it really hurt. Now, I want you to take a look at this. I waited until this morning. I thought about this video yesterday, and I waited until this morning. And I went into Google, and I Googled I Googled remittance tax big beautiful bill. All right. A series of words that I think would have triggered people to look up what I said and see what's out there. So here it is. Here's the results. Okay. And I want you to pay attention to it. The top result right now from the Tax Foundation. The big beautiful bill includes a 3.5 tax on remittance or non-commercial transfers of money that people in the U.S. send to people. Okay. But that 3.5 isn't what got passed. Yet people immediately who saw the video started to get, and we got people saying, no, it's a 5% tax, which is what Trump originally proposed. By the time it got to the floor, it was at 3.5%. And by the time it got to final passage, it was at 1%. And the language is at 1%. Now, this is dated June the 6th, but people didn't care about that. 5 days ago, Trump's 1% remittance tax, all right, that one is a fairly accurate article. But let's go down to the third one, 3.5%. Again, the fourth one is a reprint of an ABS-CBN article that was at 3.5%. So what's happened here is that two things became apparent. The first one was people are taking the easiest way out and not being selective. Well, if you do that as an expat here in the Philippines, your likelihood of being able to survive here and happily prosper is going to be limited. You've got to be smarter than that. If you don't look stuff up, like it's obvious some people didn't watch the video. Some people didn't clearly watch it. Otherwise, they would have seen. I had it printed out. I had examples of it printed out. I showed and highlighted it, but they didn't see it. But yet, they became very adamant. Then they started arguing amongst themselves within the comment section. All right? The arrogance. That's what really showed through. Now, look, I'm going to be the first person to admit that there are, and we know and have met tons and tons of expats from many countries. You have people that are well balanced. You have people that are a little overboard. And then you have people that are totally overboard. And, arrogance is something that's just going to hurt you as an American. It really and truly is. Now, I don't want to prey on that. All right. But this is an all-American thing. This particular video dealt with information that impacted both Americans and non-Americans, citizens and non-citizens living in the United States. Well, you can't be an arrogant piece of shit here. It's going to bite you sooner or later. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The other thing that it pointed out is how many people had no idea that this was coming down the pipeline. And as an American living abroad, I don't care whether it's in the Philippines, Thailand, or Uganda, you need to be aware and stay informed of what's going on at home that might impact you. If you're relying on your home country and you're relying on the pension, the Social Security, disability, retirement benefits, if you're relying on, your banking, everything else, you need to read the news, stay alert, and don't read just one news outlet. One news outlet doesn't get you anything but a biased view. We all know that. Now, where are we going? As a follow-up to the 1%, I'll tell you where we're going. I still stand firmly on what I said, that the language is exactly what it is. We had people referencing Section 4475. In the bill, there is no Section 4475 in the final bill. In fact, there is no Section 4445. The bill starts with a Section 10,000. 10,001 and then down. And that is just the way it is. Is it referenced somewhere else? Is there other stuff? Yeah, maybe. But in the end, you only have that language to go with. And that's important. That brings up the final part here. You can be arrogant all you want. You can be boisterous. You can be argumentative. You can be opinionated and in a responsible and mature fashion. But keep this in mind. YouTube is not a democracy. There's only so much bullshit that I want slinging around in the comment section. If you consistently print misinformation, if you consistently argue with other members, well, I'll remove those comments. And if you get really snotty about it, I just ban you. It's simple. It's one click. YouTube's a hobby for us. We don't give a shit. It's great that we've gotten tons of subscribers over the past month, new subscribers. All right, we've been very excited about it. But, I guess along with that comes some other things. So, if you've been banned, you've been banned. Tough shit. There's plenty of other channels you can watch. That's for sure. If you've had your comment removed, it was because it started to get on our nerves. We apologize, but, you can't be a snot towards everybody. You just can't consistently do it. Otherwise, what's going to happen with that 1%? We think it's a bargaining chip. We think the restrictions as written are so bad. All right? And don't get me wrong. The 1% doesn't impact us in any measurable way. 1% of what we send from the U.S. to the Philippines on a monthly basis is not going to impact us. It's mice nuts, all right? In the scheme of things, I would say that's the best word for it. But I think it's a bargaining chip. I think it'll be used to garner votes on other things. There's 6 months before this goes into, almost 6 months, before this goes into effect. And so there's a lot of time for amendments. There's a lot of times for line striking. There's a lot of time for bargaining to get other bills or proposals or things changed. And this is just one little chocolate chip for his pancake. It's really that simple. We do appreciate really appreciate all of the comments that we got, even the ones that we removed, because it shows that we are engaging people. And that's the whole idea, is to get information out and engage people. So, otherwise, do subscribe, hit the thumbs up, hit the notify bell so that you can know when we're going to put out our next video. We don't put out videos every day. We only put out, I don't know, maybe on average about 3 a week. So please do. And thank you for those of you that have subscribed. We appreciate it. For those of you that continue to watch and are just viewers, we appreciate it. Have a great day.